Awesome. Good evening, Mount Vernon. Today is January 8th, 2025. This is our regularly scheduled city council meeting. Apologies for starting late. Just some general housekeeping. For those in city council chambers, we have two exits, one to the back or the double doors here in front. If you need the ladies' restroom, you can exit the double doors, make a right. It'll be on your left-hand side. Also, for the men, if you need to use the restroom, you can take the double doors to the main staircase and go ahead and look on your right-hand side. There will be a men's restroom there. In the case of an emergency, we shouldn't take the elevator. There is a set of steps towards the back. If you go out the back exit or this double door exit, you make a right. There's a staircase that'll take you down to the ground level, or you can use the main staircase that leads down to the rotunda in City Hall. For those who have phones, please put them on vibrate. If you need to take a call, please step outside and take that call. And to get started, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to have Deputy Corporation Counsel Johan Powell recite it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So to start the meeting off, we're actually going to start with our public comment section. So for all speakers, you have 4 minutes to speak. At the 3-minute mark, you will hear a buzzer that indicates that you have 1 minute remaining to wrap up your comments. And the first person that I have on the speakers list is Ms. Wilma Frank. There's no podium?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Frank.
Wilma Frank, Mount Vernon, New York. I'm here this evening to ask one question. Why is it that you all continue to bleed the backs of the homeowners in Mount Vernon, New York? The homeowners' backs are bleeding. We cannot breathe because for 4 years now, every year you're all balancing the taxes, it appears to me, on the homeowners' back. Can't you all find some other means to get money coming to Mount Vernon? Can you all ask the governor? Because I said the governor because when it's election time, she calls us and tells us who to vote for. So I believe you all should call her and let her know that Mount Vernon needs help. Instead of every year you all going up on taxes, taxes, taxes. On the other hand, you all say that thousands of people owe taxes, right? They don't have it to pay. But yet still you put in more taxes and more taxes and more taxes. Man, you all are killing us. The meantime, I understand you all give yourself a fat raise. The mayor has 200,000. The controller have 180,000. You all have 50,000, 55,000. Who else? So how you all could do that? You all ain't got no shame? Who you all working for? You all working for us? We are your constituents, or you working for the developers? The reason why I say that, right? Because everywhere you pass in Mount Vernon, the houses are for sale because people cannot afford the taxes. And it seems like you all have no shame. You all are the worst. I've been living in Mount Vernon for 50 years and over. And this is the worst I ever see. You all put taxes on, we have to pay garbage tax. Sewage tax, you all just put up water tax. You- And every year you taxes, taxes, taxes. That's why people leave in you all and go to the Republicans because they don't like taxes. You know? Now, this is not right. People are suffering. People like me who own most of the houses in Mount Vernon is senior citizens. Senior citizens in Mount Vernon cannot enjoy the houses because of the taxes. Everywhere you pass, houses is for sale. Developers calling. They want to give us cash like we don't know money. Okay, because they know that all you're burying us with taxes. Man, you all got to do better. You all got to do better because after, when you all thumbs up, you all coming in my church asking for vote. You all going there asking for vote, and this is what you're doing to us? You all should be shame of all yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabriel Thompson.
Good to hear you, man. Okay, well, the microphone's at my height for once. I really hate speaking. So, first of all, as many of you know, with the flooding issues in our neighborhood and specifically our neighbors, we've had no updates from the city for a year. No communication. We actually have to go to Bronxville's meetings that they come and ask us to go to because they want us to help fight their villages project. But we have to go to their meetings to get information to find out what our city's telling them because they can't evidently, I don't know, tell the public. Flow meters were installed the first quarter of 2024. That data was supplied to Bronxville for their use and working with us for their project. Nothing. Arcadis's preliminary memo was September 2023. Then those flow meters are put in. No final report was ever issued recommending updates for obvious, there's two obvious causes of flooding, right? We attend the meeting in Bronxville and they don't even let us speak, right? No one from Mount Vernon. I try to get people to show up, to stand up for us. They showed up once, but we get nothing. We get unanswered emails, unanswered phone calls. It's a disaster. The city is janky as shit, really. It's run like a joke. And it's sad because the joke's on the residents, right? And that's not, and I know you don't want that, right? But what are you doing? So there are two lies in tonight's resolution, by the way, paragraph 1 and 13, mixed market rate and mixed income, okay? What you're proposing is a huge low-income housing project, which is fine, okay? There is no market rate housing proposed in it. There are 10% that are at workforce. 90% are what are called low income, and they will apply for low income housing or are applying for low income housing tax credits. And I heard Ms. Brown say that the council does not vote in December directly for pilots, but that is a very lawyerly statement. It is 100% true and meaningless because the rezone before you is for a giant low income tax credit or low income housing project that is going to go before the IDA and request tens of millions of dollars in tax abatement from the school district, from the county. They're required by law because they're taking low-income housing money from the state and the feds to ask the city. City's not required to give it to them. So instead of holding a golden shovel, right, with one of these low-income housing developers in a photo op, which is very disappointing, and then 4 days later saying, hey, we don't vote to approve these pilots, and then having a rezone for a low-income housing project is going to cause the homeowners' taxes to raise because there's going to be giant gaping landmine holes in the tax revenue of the city. And who's going to make up for that? The people who pay taxes, not the billionaire developers, right? We are going to pay it. Meanwhile, they're just going to sit pretty. And then, is that 1 minute or am I up? Okay. So like the first speaker said, these holes in our budget are being borne by us for two reasons. A, giant pilots being given over and over for years and years and years. They say, oh, the economic activity, the halo effect. Don't worry, guys. It'll all, well, how's that work? You raise taxes 40% in 4 years. Obviously, it ain't happening. And there's no economic development. New Rochelle has not even opened its retail in their developments. Because of inflation, their sales tax revenue has gone from 30 to 40 million just in the last 2 years, from 24 to 30 to 40 million over the course of this inflationary period. Mount Vernon sales tax revenue is stagnant. Do you know what that means when you have 20% plus inflation over a period? It means that you have less economic activity. It means instead of selling 8 apples, you're selling 6 because you're getting the same amount of revenue. So if you say take 10% of $1 million, right? When the price goes up, you sell the same amount, it's 1.3 million. You should be getting $13 instead of 10. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers. We're going to start with Councilman Boxell.
Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I did miss Miss Wilma Frank's remarks, so I guess I'll have to defer on that. Mr. Thompson, yeah, it's been a while. I mean, we spoke about the flooding some time ago, early last year, and yeah, I think you guys are definitely due an update. We should get back to you on that ASAP, and you can reach out to me directly, and we could sit and talk about that and see what's going on with that. As regards to the pilots, I don't think that you're necessarily wrong. My particular stance on when it comes to if the council votes on the pilot or not, it's if you're voting on a low income project, you kind of know the pilot is baked into it. So it's part of the requirement of the funding. So if you approve this project that's low income, you know that the funding is such. So that's my take on that. So I don't think that the city at this time, I'm not opposed to low income projects, but I think we're saturated right now. I think the city's saturated, and it's something that should be spread across the county and not just Mount Vernon's burden. So I don't think right now Mount Vernon is in a financial position to entertain anything like that. No local low income, no pilots that are residential or anything like that at this point, because we just can't afford it. We simply just can't afford it. It's going to be a real economic hardship on the city, and that's my personal stance on that. So I don't think you're wrong when it comes to that in that particular instance. So, and that's all my comments.
Thank you. Councilman Potteet.
Thank you, Council President. Want to thank everyone for coming in today. It is freezing outside, so I know that you made a big effort just to be here, so thank you. Ms. Frank, happy New Year. Is she still here? Is she?
No, she left.
She's gone. She's gone. All right. So let me summarize the comments I had for her. And Mr. Thompson, that you brought up some of the same concepts, which is, what's happening to our tax base, juxtaposed with pipelines. And I think you're correct. We have not done a good job with economic development in the city. Council President Brown wrote laws so that we now have a new economic we now have a new economic development committee that we're going to staff up to then look at various options for economic development in the city. So we are taking that seriously. But we have not done a good job historically on that, and we should do a better job of that. I do want to talk about, though, your notion around the lack of a need for further development in the city. That project on 2nd Avenue has been an eyesore for a few years now. And so I would ask, if we don't move forward with this project, what happens in that community? Are they just burdened with an eyesore for another 5-10 years, with rats coming in and out of the building, and so on and so forth, as we try to figure out what needs to happen next? I would argue that those residents want us to have an answer now, and we don't have funding now to fix that building, to repair that building in a way that would be satisfactory to those tenants, to those residents living in the area. So in the absence of something else, I am in support of the project. And I also think the benefits that are going to come from the project shouldn't be made light of, right? There's going to be increased sales tax from the work being done. There's going to be people hired on the project, hopefully from the community. So I think some of those benefits as well should be factored into as we're talking through, we just don't want any more low income housing in this community. I think Councilmember Boxell, that you are right. Mount Vernon does have more than its fair share. So we need to be smart about how we're placing these projects and making sure that they do have a benefit to our community, not just Westchester County in general. And then my last comment is simply this. Part of the process that the IDA does go through is that they have to go through what's called a UTEP process, where they're looking at the detriments from the pilot and looking at the benefits and making sure that those are balanced. So I'm hopeful that the IDA uses that process to make sure that
Councilwoman Gleason.
and that the process does weigh the detriments of having less tax revenue with the benefits of what's going to come from that project. And that's all that I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Potteet. Councilwoman Gleason.
Thank you, Council President. Sorry, I didn't mean to overspeak, but sometimes when you say hope, when you know that the process is in place, people get a misinterpretation. I agree with Ms. Frank. You know, that's one thing I don't want to continue to do is continue to tax the taxpayer. I think that the city of Mount Vernon absolutely needs more economic development. We're putting pressure on the administration and trying to partner with them in any way that we can to promote that. Mr. Thompson, you're right. We need an update on the flooding issue and the flow meter, especially when it pertains to Bronxville Field Club. I just sent an email out to DBW to see what they'll give us back. I have not heard back from them yet. And I think you did a great job, Councilman Potteet, in regards to explaining the whole pilot and going to the IDA and the process and procedure there. I don't think I need to speak on that any further. So thank you, Councilwoman Brown.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gleason. Councilman Thompson.
Thank you. Just wanted to say, pilots are not under the purview of city council, right? Those go through the Industrial Development Agency, which is the IDA. And council members, we do discuss things on how we can influence, if any, have conversations so we don't see pilots. Because years past, you've seen businesses get 10, 20, 30-year pilots. And then after their pilot is up, they're gone from the city. They don't get those breaks anymore. I, for one, am not interested in anyone having a pilot. If you have the money to come with your money. If you don't have the money, then, don't. That's just my feeling on that. When we compare ourselves to other communities, I say it all the time, our community does not have the tax generating revenue that everyone else has. Other communities have hotels, major shopping areas, and things of that nature. When you talk about development, you want to see mixed use development, because when you see residential and commercial combined, that brings in your major taxes. So that's the kind of development you want to see within the city. So we're constantly having conversations about that. But when we have residents bash us, for lack of a better word, we spend countless hours to do the very best for the residents in which we serve. And everyone who sits on this council lives in Mount Vernon. So the same taxes that hit our residents hits us as well. So we're not pleased about any kind of increase. However, we have to do what's best for the city and continue to work together, resident and electeds alike, to make sure that our city can stay afloat. Are we gonna be pleased with everything? Absolutely not. But we have to continue to stay at it, to work and look at some of the best practices in other communities and see what's gonna be beneficial for the residents of Mount Vernon. No one is doing any rubber stamping on this council. No one is doing anything under the table on this council. So it's an insult when you hear those kinds of things. And when we know we're working to the best of our ability. So we have to make sure that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So we just have to make sure that we're mindful of how we speak to one another, and let's continue to work together to do the very best we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. Many of the things I would have said have been said, so I won't repeat them. But just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It is extremely cold outside. So we can go ahead and move into the tally sheet. I'm gonna start with legislation and public works.
Thank you, Madam President. Item number 1, Office of the Mayor, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and chief of staff to attend the United States Conference of Mayors 93rd Winter Meeting in Washington, D.C., and approving related expenditures on the agenda. Item number 2, Office of the Mayor, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to attend the New York State Conference of Mayors, NICOM Winter Legislative Meeting 2025 from February 2nd to the 4th. That is on the agenda. Item number 3, that was supposed to be agenda pending from the other day, but I don't know if that was clear when we were talking about it because a question was asked. And I have not gotten the answer back from DPW. So I would like to call for that, or do I have to hold it on the floor?
You hold it on the floor.
Okay, so we'll put it on the agenda and then hold it on the floor?
No.
Or
you-
hold it right
you-
now?
You can call for it, but it's still gonna be on the agenda because it was put on, so you can just hold for it.
Okay,
when it
so I'm
comes.
calling for that. Item number 4, Recreation. Department of Recreation and ordinance authorizing the Department of Recreation to co-sponsor the Antigua and Barbuda International Cultural Association Food Festival on May 24th, 2025. That is on the agenda. Item number 5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, celebrating the life and legacy of Mrs. Evelyn Paula Nelson Young, which is the Mayor Clinton Young's mother, and Mary Graves, the head of the Mount Vernon Democratic City Committee's mother, a longtime educator here in the city. That is on the agenda, will be presented at a later date when the family returns. Item number 6, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, designating the Journal News as the official newspaper for the City of Mount Vernon for the year 2025. That is on the agenda because it failed the last meeting. And I have 2 add-ons. First one, City Council and ordinance authorizing the travel and expenses for the City Council President Danielle Brown to attend the 2025 New York Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officers Winter Legislative Session, February 2nd to the 4th, 2025. Item number 12, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, appointing members to the Charter Review Commission according to Section 268 of Mount Vernon City Code. That is on the agenda. And that is all, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Gleason. Human Resources.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item number 7 from Recreation, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the County of Westchester for funding the Fun Filled Summer Park activation program. That's on the agenda. Item number 8 from the Youth Bureau, an ordinance authorizing the attendance of the Youth Bureau staff and youth at the Annual Association of New York State Youth Bureaus, Youth Leadership Forum, which is from February 3rd and 4th, 2025. That's on the agenda. Item number 9 from the Youth Bureau, an ordinance amending ordinance number 4, authorizing the mayor to extend the Westchester Community Health Center for Mental Health and Wellness Service contract through the Youth Bureau's program from December 15th, 2023 to May 3rd, 2024. The new expiration date would be August 2025, and that's on the agenda. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Thompson. Going to go to Finance and Planning.
Excuse me. All right, number 10. This is from the city clerk. A resolution of the city council of the city of Mount Vernon issuing notice of completion and scheduling a public hearing on the final generic environmental impact statement and zoning petition for the proposed downtown transit oriented art district. And that's on the agenda. And I have an add-on. This is from the controller's office. From the Office of the Controller, an ordinance authorizing the submission of the list of delinquent taxes and approving procedures for tax lien sales and in rem foreclosure proceedings. So we're not going to actually vote on the list today, but basically that we're in receipt and we accept the proceedings. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We can go ahead and move into the legislative session.
I have a question.
Councilman Gleason?
So Councilman Box Hill, what's the actual next step with this? Because like it came up again tonight with Ms. Frank. So what is the next step?
Yeah, that was a good question because I spoke to the controller maybe about 45 minutes today, and I was he was explaining exactly that. So he was saying that New York state law requires that we the council acknowledges notice, right? And then we can decide to take action on the next within 7 days. So that essentially that would be the next meeting. So I guess that's up to us what the next
And that would be, that resolution at the next meeting would be a resolution authorizing an auction of those properties or?
Well, to not a necessarily an auction, but a lien sale.
Well, I mean, we have a deputy corporation counsel here, so maybe it's
Okay.
best that
Yeah,
deputy
you can go
corporation
ahead.
counsel.
Yeah,
speak to it.
Thank you.
You would be approving the list. And that list at that time, the comptroller will have some publishing requirements that that's necessary for the list. So, and it's not within 7 days. It can be less than 7 days.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, but what's that next step? So what's the next step?
The
Are we
comptroller,
allowed, so we have all these properties, and the reason why I'm asking this is because this comes up in conversation with residents on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
So I want to be as transparent as possible because I mean, that's a constant question. What are we doing with the tax liens? What are we doing with the properties? There have been several offers into the real estate committee for some properties. So at least for this part of it, what is the next step?
right. So next step after the city council approves the list, then as I was saying that the comptroller has a bunch of publishing requirements. So he must file with the county of the clerk of the county of Westchester. He's going to have to file something with the law department and within his own department, within the the commissioner of the finance department. At that point, we can start the publications, and then people will see the list, and then we can get to the point where he can start to sell the properties.
Because I had asked Comptroller more in this before the holidays. He sent an email Christmas Eve that talked about the process somewhat. They will also have to issue an RFP that should be coming to us sometime relatively soon for those.
Right,
taxes.
you know what, I'm wondering if our corporation counsel was on that email, because that was kind of where I was going with the whole question part
Right.
of it. Hold on,
So-
but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, so then that we would need clarification from the comptroller as to once the list is public and out there, what's the step going to be to get the RFP process going so people can submit for the RFP process?
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you. So part of it's just missing for me because I didn't get an opportunity to read this. So what exactly are we voting on tonight? What is the resolution or the ordinance that we have tonight? to
Essentially
vote
that
on?
we're in receipt of the list, that the council's in receipt of the list.
Is it essentially, or is that what the legislation is?
I'm sorry, and to approve the procedures.
Okay. We can go ahead and move into a roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Present.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Here,
Councilman Potteet,
Here.
Councilman Thompson,
Here.
Council President Brown.
Here. All right, legislation and public works.
yes, I know. Can you just give me just 1 second?
Sure.
Thank you.
Would you
Actually,
like me to do mine
yeah.
instead?
yeah, but we can start with human resources.
No, I'm ready. I just needed a second.
We can start with human resources.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item number 7 from the Department of Recreation, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the County of Westchester for funding the Fun-Filled Summer Park Activation Program. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
I have item number 8 from the Youth Bureau, an ordinance authorizing the attendance of the Youth Bureau staff and youth at the Annual Association of New York State Youth Bureaus. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 9 from the Youth Bureau, I have an ordinance amending ordinance number 4, authorizing the mayor to extend the Westchester Community Health Center for Mental Health and Wellness Service contract through the Youth Bureau's program, which the new date would end August 2025. So move.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Legislation and public works.
Thank you so much for that little delay. I appreciate it. Item number 1, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and chief of staff to attend the United States Conference of Mayors 93rd Winter Meeting in Washington, D.C. and approving related expenditures. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 2, an ordinance Office of the Mayor, ordinance authorizing the mayor to attend the New York State Conference of Mayors Winter Legislative Meeting 2025 from February 2nd to the 4th. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 3, Department of Public Works, an ordinance authorizing the lease agreement for office space at 6 Gramerton Avenue, Suite 203, Mount Vernon, New York, 10550. That is being held on the floor.
Yeah, DC Bonnier, can we just make sure that this makes it back on the agenda? It's not a permanent hold.
Yes.
Thank you. Or on the tally sheet, rather.
Okay, yeah. Item number 4, Department of Recreation, an ordinance authorizing the Department of Recreation to co-sponsor the Antigua and Barbuda International Cultural Association Food Festival on May 24th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Boxell,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Item number 5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, celebrating the life and legacy of Mrs. Evelyn Paulson Nelson Young. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Item number 6, City Council, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, designating the Journal News as the official newspaper for the City of Mount Vernon for the year 2025. So moved.
Second.
On the question?
I have a question. Councilmember Gleason, I'm just curious, why don't you like the publishing and like?
Because I don't feel like they do responsible reporting when it comes to Mount Vernon.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions, comments?
You've been very consistent with that. That was my question last year when I joined the council. So thank you for that.
Any other? Roll call?
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
I'm not council president.
I'm
anymore.
sorry. Councilwoman Gleason.
No.
Thank you. Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to my add-ons. Item number 11, City Council, an ordinance authorizing the travel and expenses for the City Council President Danielle Brown to attend the 2025 New York Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials, NICOM, winter, I made a new word, winter legislative session, February 2nd to the 4th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Sorry. Item number 12, City Council. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, appointing members to the Charter Review Commission according to section 268 of the Mount Vernon City Code. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye. Thank you, Councilman Gleason. Gonna move to finance and planning.
Okay, number 10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Mount Vernon issuing a notice of completion and scheduling a public hearing on the final generic environmental impact statement and zoning petition for the proposed downtown transit-oriented art district. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Very good. Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
My add-on, number 13. From the Office of the Controller, an ordinance authorizing the submission of the list of delinquent taxes and approving procedures for tax lien sales and in-rem foreclosure proceedings. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Councilman Potteet?
Thank you, Council President. I'm happy we're moving on the tax liens. I would humbly ask, there's quite a number of low-income seniors who are homeowners in our city, who are struggling to pay taxes or pay their mortgage or pay their Con Ed or buy food. And for that specific population, I would humbly ask that we do a better job of helping them by extending them even more grace than what we're doing now. And I get that this list is people who haven't responded to the comptroller multiple times. And I fully understand that, but specifically with our low income seniors who are struggling as it is, as this goes to the Board of Estimates, I would humbly ask that we can do something to kind of help them besides just selling off their tax liens. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I think that Councilman Potita is correct. But there are also procedures in place as far as, I mean, the controller is pretty much asking folks to reach out to them and you know, join in the payment plan that they've been extending. So basically, you're not going to get your property sold if you came into the controller's office and sat down and, you know, try to work with a payment plan that, you know, works for that particular individual. So yeah, we're trying their best. And as a matter of fact, I mean, but at the same time, we do have to be conscious of the folks that are paying their taxes. And there's an argument to be made there too as well that they shouldn't be punished by it either. So it's definitely a tough situation, but you're not wrong. So thank you for that.
Yes, if I may.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, as I said in previous meetings, I urge all of our homeowners to, who have fallen behind with their taxes, reach out to the comptroller's office, come into the comptroller's office. Don't ignore your notices, because you just put yourself in harm's way when you ignore those notices. So if there's something going on, let the comptroller's office know so they can better assist you, because no one is a mind reader. No one knows what your pockets look like. No one knows what you're going through in your life. So let the comptroller's office help you. They're not there to snatch your houses away from you. They're there to assist you in any way they can. So make sure that if you're having any problems going forward, make sure you don't ignore any notices that come to your home, and make sure that you go into the comptroller's office to try to get something resolved. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gleason?
I had like just a brief conversation with the comptroller the other night, and I would definitely support another tax amnesty if the council would be up for it. I think that we really don't have much to lose if we can try and do something like that. Maybe you think about it, and then we have further conversation with the comptroller. But again, you know, I don't want to see anybody lose their homes. I think that that's another way to get money in. We did it twice prior. I don't see why not moving forward with another amnesty. And that's it.
Councilman Potteet?
This message is for AI for Corporation Council. Could the amnesty be targeted to just low income seniors, or no? Would that be illegal to just target that population? I'm just curious.
I will confirm, but my thought is that it's probably on illegal just to take that one segment. You had other people who would turn around and immediately complain, I'm sure, about that. But I'll take a look into that. That's a
Appreciate
good point.
Thank you.
To Councilwoman Gleason, do we have any data on how many people have taken advantage of the previous tax amnesties that we've had?
No, but I'd be happy to work with Councilman Boxill and see if the finance committee could put that together.
That'd be great. Any other comments, thoughts on the question?
I think that's a great question. I was thinking the same thing too. Before we do another amnesty, like how successful was the last one and how many people are actually participating? So yeah.
All right, cool. Roll call.
Councilman Boxill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye. Go, shucks. I meant to say abstention because I haven't read through it. Change my vote to abstention,
Nope.
please. All right, that concludes the agenda. Do we have any comments from council members? All right, well, Councilman Gleason?
I think if we could stand in a moment of silence regarding the passing of President Jimmy Carter.
Do I have a motion? Councilman Boxill?
Yeah, motion to make a standing moment of silence for the great Jimmy Carter.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right.
All right.
Roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Councilman Potteet, Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Brown.
Aye.
Yes, I said it right. Yes, sorry.
Aye. Stand for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.